new communities. So it's been easy to understand, right? Be straightforward. And for this chapter, we will learn the formation of the Buddhist school, branches after the Buddha passed away in Nirvana. But before, let me see. Before we move on, let us review who we missed number 11 last time, right? Who is the number 11? Oh, can you like to share quickly before we move on? What art and architecture did it describe about the Buddha?
Well, most art seen throughout Southeast Asia and all that really depicts Siddhartha Gautama's life before he was Buddha, because they see it as solidifying him in stone and in a human body. It seems kind of contradictory since he attained nirvana and freedom. But the artwork we were able to see of Gautama is very, joyous, which is, the complete opposite of birth being associated with negative feelings because it's the representation of samsara. And I thought it was really neat to see how he was depicted in art that isn't physical art. Like in Christian theology, they actually have an individual who just that, and he is supposed to be their iteration of Buddha, and he becomes a saint. So it's really neat to see how even in other religions, he's still here.
That's the story that relates to Buddhism when it spread to the far west, right? In Europe. And originally there was no image worshiping or idol worshiping in Buddhism, but somehow even before, or even during the Buddha times, according to legend, remember I told you this one summer that he went to heaven to teach his mother. So there was a king. He missed Buddha too much that he called the handcraft people to make the Buddha's image because he missed the Buddha too much. So somehow he could not find anyone could craft or paint the Buddha image of statue. So somehow, according to legend, there's one celestial beings appear on earth and told the king, "Oh, I know how to do the Buddha image picture." So he did that, and that's the original starting point of the Buddha image and pictures. Statues, according to legends. And later on, whenever Buddha left his monastery or temple, somehow people came to worship the Buddha trees or even his seat. That's represent him. And later on, people worship his relic, his robes, his body, and so forth. That's why we have Buddhist art later on. This is so beautiful. It's all kind of art. According to purist, if you see how they make the Buddha statue, the image throughout the time is just beautiful. Thank you. You need water? Water?
Yeah.
Yeah, water is water. Okay, let's go back to the discussion today. Again, right after the Buddha passed away, this is normal, right? It's normal to any traditions, or even in your own family, right? In our family, if a grandparents pass away, what happened? The brothers, sister start to split up, right? It's normal. It's a normal part of life. And that's why after Buddha passed away, there's some form of separation happened between the Buddhist Sangha. And it starts from the story of Mahayana. Remember we talked about the one who the Buddha passed the rope to him. So on the way going back to see him, when he got the news that Buddha passed away, and one lousy monk, he said, "Oh, I'm so happy now. I'm free now. I will not be a monist, but Buddha anymore, because of the rules and so forth." Right. So Mahayana said, "Wow, I have to do something." Right after the Buddha passing away. So when he went back to do the cremation for the Buddhas, and after they obtained the Buddha relics, and of course, they split out for 8 portions because 8 kings tried to fight for Buddha relics, but the one Brahmin stepped up and said, "Well, during the Buddha times, while he's still alive, he always teach us the non-violence way of life. So why do you guys fight about his relic? This will against his will. This will against his teaching." So that's the reason why these 8 kings, they are religion for each other to divide 8 portions of the relic, and that promise gives us, and that's for the lay people. And Mahayana, he convened the first Buddhist council. That's what we talk here today. Okay. So you guys have the number, right? Please team up with your guy. Okay, we discuss again. We follow the same format.
Number 1.
Number 6.
Yeah, please go together. And please, 5 minutes only. Last time is too long, and we don't have much time. 5 minutes.
Okay, so basically, because like seems like most of these are like in his like documents in the below. Like I read the book on like there's an accident about the consoles. So like you know like it was not so much different like the counters are in this document called Early Buddhist Symbols. Like what I do is just like open each document like the try.
That's why I do the 5.
What's the number? Oh, okay. Now like this. At least separate by chapter. Beginning after like this, we did by 1 chapter 3, and there's like 1,000 things. What's your I had meetings at 5 o'clock. Alright. Good name.
Actually, so once he was in Europe, but once he died,
death, you go, either you're born into another realm because of your karma, and there's 6 different realms, 6 or 7. Personally, I think like, if energy can be destroyed, I think it's obviously like some after, like.
Okay. All right. Ready. Last time we took a lot of time so that we don't have time to finish up everything. Okay, let's we got done? Got done? Okay. All right, let's go back to that. Okay, who does the one? Which one does the Okay, go ahead. Who will be leader? Okay, go ahead, Sal. So why and how the first Buddhist council was formed?
Well, the council was created because the Buddha died, and he believed that there should not be like one leader to lead. And everyone was really sad, and in order to preserve his teachings and beliefs, they thought that having a council, or everyone having equal say would be the best. And so
Okay, so there's a Theravada tradition of having 500 arhats present at this council, and so they had 500 seats, and then 499 of the most well-known arhats were summoned, and on the night before the council, Ananda was, he was aware of this and wanted to, he basically meditated really hard and was able to achieve enlightenment on the eve of this council, so that whenever he did attend, he was an arhat and not, I forget the other two. But yeah, so the council was formed to kind of commemorate Buddha and then preserve his teachings, because after his death, he had said that no one person or institution should have the authority over all of his followers. And so after the council, there was kind of a dissolution of the monks and nuns who had been following him, and they all kind of dispersed into more geographically separated and isolated colonies.
Okay. What else? What else do you want?
Well, the actual meeting happened 3 months after the death, and they collected together all the Buddhist scriptures that they had, known as the Pali Tipitaka, which is then like handed down by like the generations of the council, like as time passed, and each monk had to memorize the scriptures, and that's it.
Actually, it's not in actually, right after Buddha passed away, 3 months after Buddha passed away, they convened this first Buddhist council. They convened and decided the Buddha teaching orally. They didn't write it yet, so got messed up. And until the time of Ashoka, the third council started to write out the Buddhist scriptures. Venerable Ananda, the one who was the Buddha attendant for more than 25 years, decide most of Buddha teachings. Even sometimes he asked the Buddha decide some sutras that he had not heard before. Remember that Ananda, who was born on during the year that the Buddha attended 90. So he came later on to become the Buddha attendant only 25 years. And it said that his purpose in memorization. Who has good memory here? You do? Wow. If you have good memory, you go to medical school, right? Remember a lot of medical terminologies. Yeah, anyway, so this monk, he memorized most of all the Buddha teaching. That's why they fought for him to recite all the Buddha teaching again. That's why in most of the sutra you will see the first I have heard. First I have heard. That means he heard about the Buddha teaching, not him. No, he didn't decide. First I have heard, and after that he said something. That's what we are talking about in this sutra. Staff. Okay, first I have it in the Theravada in Mahayana tradition too. And Upali is the foremost in Vinaya. That means the books of precepts, rules, regulations, especially for the monastic orders. He decided that books. And later on, according to other traditions, some monks who recite the commentaries they call Abhidhamma. We study about that later on. So you get use of that. That's what Tripitaka has been the three sets of teachers. The Sutra does mean Buddha teaching, Vinaya does mean the books of disciplines, adorations, and the last one the commentaries Abhidhamma. Okay? So that's what we have about the first Buddhist council. And there's a lot of legends involved in this first Buddhist council. The king, the son of the king Bimbisara, the one who killed his father to overthrow his father. Later on, he regret and become one of the Buddha's orders, and he's had this 500 parahas to convene the first Buddhist council. There's a lot of legend involved in this first council. This is so important. As they can convene together to recite orally the teachings so that they could know. You know, at first I have a doubt about the monk memorization, but I went to India, and even now you can type on YouTube, you would see there's some monks, they specialize in memorizing the sutra, the Vinayas. And when I went to India, I lived amongst Tibetan communities, and I attend many Tibetan monks' recitation. Some of them specialize in some types of sutras, some types of Vinaya, and so forth. So once during the year, they gather together to recite the sutra or the book of liberation and so forth. Orally, yes.
How long does it take to learn, like, how many years of debating and how many years of like learning and practicing everything until you've reached the level where you can teach others?
Depending on traditions. But for me personally, at least 15 years.
Yeah.
Before you are to teach.
Yeah.
With your knowledge as well as the practice. Or the junior one. According to the book of liberation, yes. You stay with your master the first couple of years to be a novice, and after that you could take the formal ordination if you are above 21, the monks and nuns. But you have to stay with your master at least 5 years to study Vinayas, the teaching as well as your master teaching. After that you can move on to study for different teachers. But some like to remain to stay back with their teachers, some of them like to move around and so forth. So in Buddhist tradition, we have the way that many monks they like to travel here and there to learn from different masters. It's like you go to different school to study before you conduct your professions. Okay, that's all. All right, let's move on to number 2. Okay, number 2. And second, right? Who does number 2? Yes. Wow. So why and how the second Buddhist council was formed?
It was mostly about disciplinary rules that they were participating over, such as whether or not monks could collect money, because some were. And the division that occurred, another dispute was the status of arhats and whether or not they were perfect or if they were fallible. The two lines of ordination that emerged were the Stavira and the Mahasamhika Great Assembly. It took place about 100 years after Buddha had died, and most scholars agree that this was a historical event. And they did fail to meet a consensus, so it did result in a split. But the impressive part about it is that the different rules and denials between the two schools remained relatively similar, so it was over small things that they argued. And then comparing that to other religions like Christianity or Islam in the early years when they split, it was much more violent and resulted in much.
Let us start the Buddha relative, right? The people just told you that Brahmins stepped in and told the Asians that Buddha always teach us the non-violence teachings. So why do you guys fight for his relative? And that's why in Buddhism we always emphasize on that approach, non-violent approach. And especially for the second Buddhist Council is for the modern Buddhists and non-Buddhists. To them, this is so trivial, right? But still, at that time, it's very important. During the first Buddhist Council, when after Upali decided the book of discipline, and there's some monks mentioned that there's some trivial disciplines or rules. Why don't you let it go, drop it out? So, but Mahishapa asked Ananda that whether Buddha allowed them to drop this kind of trivial rules or not. And when Ananda said that, well, the Buddha say, you guys later on you guys may or may not drop them up. It's up to you guys. Depends on the situation. Remember, let me mention again, especially the book of Vijnana, book of preparation or discipline. The Buddha based upon the misconduct of Buddhist monks and nuns during his time to establish the rules. He didn't establish beforehand. So it's based upon the mistake that his gurus had made to establish the kind of rules. For the first 20 years, I'm going to, you can say, the books of the sutras that there's not much problems in the Sangha of the monastic order. But later on, because they accept everyone from all kind of classes, remember, the priest class, right, the royal, the business, the family. So that's why it's all kind of problem occur. And even I'm teaching the same class online at University of Indiana University, and one student say that he doesn't agree with the Buddha that the Buddha doesn't accept the criminals into the Sangha. You know why? Because the monks and the nuns we represent Buddhism, right? And even what happens if you have some mistake? Let's say if you go to jail for a few days, this may create problems for your resume, right? For your future job application, right? It's common, right? Especially when you work for the government, when you work in healthcare, in education, and so forth. When you deal with the public, and if you have that kind of fault, it's not easy for you. Yes.
But what leads to a crime all comes from within, and all of the sadness, and you can argue that. So it goes hand in hand with like being greedy or having like, what is it, gluttony and stuff like that. Why wouldn't you be able to change who you are, just like the Buddha did himself, from a prince who was always taking sensual pleasures, blah, 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 and to switch, and he represented all of Buddhism, you know?
Yes, everyone can have a chance to transform themselves. Even there's some story that there's one killer, one serial killer, he killed 999 people to get the fingers. You know that story? Yes.
He made a necklace.
He made a necklace. You know that story, right? And what happened? And he tried to kill the last one. That is martyrs. That's when Buddha stepped in to stop him and convert him to become a Buddhist monk. And later he attended enlightenment and hardship. But in general, Buddha, if he let the criminals in this, may create a problem in the Sangha. That's why, even of course for common people, yes, they can be Buddhists anyway. They like to. Even nowadays they have some what we call it prison project. It's very in India. To the Buddhist monks or like people to go into the prison to teach the inmate how to do meditation, how to control their minds. So, but in talking about the monastic order, especially monks and nuns, I think to even the general public, right, have to be in self-control, have to set a good example of people to follow. That's why he made that happen. All right, so yes, and go back to second council. Yeah, for other people, for outside, or even the beginners, you can see that this is two rules. Let's do those stuff is very important for them. And especially for the monks, we're not supposed to keep monies, but now we have credit card. But still, that's a means for us to live and depend on how you utilize the money, whichever ways you use. And this back then is very strict. And in one of the sutra, it said that monks supposed to eat 1 meal a day and sleep under 1 tree a day. But later on, when we talk about the early Buddhist monastic community, we'll talk more about that. Okay? Yeah, let's go to number 3, please. Number 3. Yes, please.
The third council happened because the king Ashoka, is that Ashoka? Mm-hmm. He started out accepting like all religions, but then eventually he started just giving all his donations to the Sangha, and that caused a bunch of people to just join the Sangha just to get the free food and money. And so then we started being fake monks, and eventually the real monks didn't want to do the cleansing ceremony, the Upasatha ceremony, and the king sent a minister to demand that they do it. And they still refused because there were still bad monks there, and so the minister started beheading them until he got to this one monk who happened to be King Asoka's brother. And so he ran back and told the emperor about it, and that's when the emperor called the council, and it was led by Elder Magaputa Tissa and 1,000 monks. And that's where they discussed there's also like splits in the Sangha, like different teachings, and that's where like they iron things out. Where Magaputa had a book that he wrote, and that's what he like refuted heretical types of schooling, and so they accepted that book as orthodox, and that's what they did at the council. And then they also sent 9 emissaries to 9 countries to spread Buddhism.
Yeah, and there's this about 3rd century BC. That's when Buddhist sutra was started to be written down in Arabic, not in Sanskrit and Pali. Sanskrit and Pali is later languages.
What was it written?
Arabic. We studied about that.
And then it was was translated to
No,
Sanskrit?
it is not translated. This is it's in the family's in family's languages. You have Prague. And we see the inscription of Ashoka is based on this one, and later on they try to separate Pali. So up to now, this one, the Mahayana tradition follow, presented in Tipitaka, and this is the Theravada. We'll talk about that more. Okay, thank you. All right, that's good, and that's from start come on. Buddhism spread everywhere because of the effort of Ashoka. He sent his missionary routes through the east and through the west. That's why you talk about the story of what do you call Joe in Europe? What do you call Joe? What? Jurapat, right? Jurapat, right? Oh, you. All right, so let's go number 4, please. Yes.
Yeah, so
We have
the
number 4.
Fourth Buddhist Council is actually 2 different meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one was held at Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. And the second one was in Kashmir.
Yes.
So the first one, what I read, it said that they were being attacked and lots of Buddhist monks started dying, and then they also had like scarce food, so they weren't eating, starving to death. So that since there were so many passing away, they decided to write down the canon. And once they wrote it down, they wrote it on palm trees, and they sent it out to all the other countries. Then at the second Fourth Buddhist Council meeting, there was over 500 monks in attendance, and they translated. I don't know if I get that part mixed up. Yeah, they translated it to Sanskrit.
Sanskrit. Yeah. Pali. Yeah.
Because it was the holy language at the time.
That's all.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add?
Oh, me? Oh, no. Yeah, we have about the same.
Yeah, in Kashmir, Kashmir is between Pakistan and India now. That's the part that where they hold the 4 Buddhist Council under the support of the Emperor Kushan Kanisha. Is one of the great Buddhist emperor to support Buddhism during those time too. That's when in the first century, see was when Buddhism spread everywhere, especially to China, Tibet, and so forth. Okay. And okay, let's just move on to the next one. Okay, number 4, number 5. Number 5, relation of early Buddhist monastic communities. Who does number 5? No one? Okay, here. Remember, during the Buddha times, he followed some kind of Hindu tradition. So he can let his monks to travel around everywhere, but somehow later on, with some late supporters, they built a monastery for the Buddhas to stay, but they put the rules for the monks to stay back at the monastery or temples during the 3 months. During the summer times, that's called summer retreat. Because in India, during the summer times, there's a lot of incident on the road because of the rainy season and so forth. That's why put the rules now that monks supposed to have summer retreat to stay in the monastery to start it together to support each other spiritually, mentally. Because during the year they spread everywhere to give the teachings. But during the summer times they come together. And they have two. One is Abhasa, a temporary house, monastery called Vihara. You see, especially in the Theravada tradition, they call Vihara. Okay. In Mahayana tradition, we call temple. And Arahama is more permanent place for the Buddhist monks to stay together, to do meditation, to study together during Buddha times. And actually, one of the famous Arama is Anapitika. He bought the Prince Jeta Grove. Can you see? About 1.8 million gold piece for that garden or that grove to donate to the Buddha to establish the permanent monastery. So again, during the early times, the monks just wandering around and come back to the monastery to do meditation, to learn together. And even nowadays, we still keep up with that traditions. But of course, in this country, it's still hard because we have this small, small south of Sangha, or the small Buddhist community here. But in Vietnam, that's the regulation that monks are not supposed to stay at the monastery during the summer times. And later on, we study about the Theravada traditions. Have who been in Bangkok before? In Thailand before? You been in Thailand? Sri Lanka? Have you seen the monk? They walk on the street to beg for the food. Yeah, the monk not supposed to eat in afternoon. They can eat breakfast and lunch, but not.
They don't wear shoes.
They don't wear shoes. It's hard for them. We see.
They wear shoes.
We learn about that. Okay, and you can practice.
I mean, I don't wear shoes typically.
You don't wear shoes. Okay.
No.
All right, we talk about that later on. Okay. So yeah, so that is the again they told you that in the early times Buddha expect that the monk is supposed to eat one meal a day and to sleep under only one tree. But later on, because of the generosity of the lay people, they start to build the temple and monastery for monks. Yes. Actually, this is debatable too. And of course, in early times, would I accept anything that the lay people offer? Right? Especially in the Theravada traditions. Up to now, monks accept everything. Any food, any kind of food that the lay people offer to them. But in the Mahayana traditions, later on, there's some special sutra. The Buddha mentioned that, well, there's time for you guys to be vegetarian. That's because we respect life, so we could not encourage the lay people to kill animals to offer for us.
They eat eggs though. And I know that's vegetarian, but that's still killing life. And fish.
The male has to like pee on the egg or something. So it's not really fertilized.
Wait, what?
Oh,
For an egg to like be alive, like a male has to do its part to like make it have life. So if it's not like peed
milk.
on, then it's okay.
Cows give milk
Yeah,
regardless.
it has to get fertilized. That's what I'm saying. The egg.
Yeah, like
Yeah, so
really
eggs
one-
are
Yeah.
real.
I mean, but there's a life in there now.
No, there is no life unless it's fertilized.
I thought I just watched a video.
There is no life unless it's fertilized.
Oh, so it's
I literally just saw a video of it showing an egg and how like the first 3 days there's no life. The 4th day, it already has like
How does
They
it
fertilize
fertilize?
it.
Does it fertilize itself?
Okay, so if they aren't fertilizing the egg,
Like,
I don't know.
No, it is just for that part.
it's just a period, guys.
Yeah,
It's just a period.
That's good.
Like any species produces eggs, just like ours, they're not anything until they're fertilized.
So, but hers,
Oh.
okay, do chickens
That's
lay
not
eggs?
Great way to
So
go.
So the eggs,
So, but what's in the egg?
Fertilized eggs.
Yes.
The female and like the female
yeah,
genetic
it's the
material.
material that's there to create a baby, but without.
We talk about that.
Without, oh, okay, cool.
But at my training course, as my monastery,
Do you eat eggs?
no, I said the man,
Are you
the
vegan?
children, yeah, we don't bring milk, we don't eat any eggs. All the temple, all the monastery, that's it.
Do you eat carrots?
Huh?
Yeah,
Yes.
honey. No problem.
As my sister is not involved in any activity.
And what was it?
Not involved in any activity.
Well, eggs are killing.
All right, let's move on then. Okay, so that's early monastics communities, and one thing I want to mention for you guys. Somehow, right before the Buddha passed, or what we call Nirvana, he didn't appoint anyone to take over his post. You know why? But in Catholicism, right, we have the Pope, right? And many people ask me, is Dharma the Pope, Buddhist Pope? Yes or no? No. It's not Buddhist Pope. It's just a political and religious figures of the Tibetan people, Tibetan Buddhism, not for every Buddhist. So that makes sense. So why didn't the Buddha appoint anyone to replace him, to take care of the Sangha, to be leader? Why? Yes, sir.
Because they might change the teachings.
You mentioned the teaching. Good. What else?
Power corrupts.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to write out. Yes, that's right. Power. When you deal with power, money, and so forth, it's corrupted. It's happened in any tradition. It's happened in any society, any communities, and any political organization, right? When you deal with power, when you deal with money, it's corrupted. So that's why Buddha always wants his followers to follow spiritual life, not to deal with power, to deal with money. That's why we're homeless. Yes?
Is this because of his greatest enemy? That why he set that rule?
No.
That why he like don't
Get
want-
kind of. Kind of. Yeah. So as monks and as Buddhist monks, whenever I go, I build up my temple or monastery, but it's not for me, for communities. Right? It's for the public. That's why for Buddhist monks and others, we have to sacrifice our life for the public life. We don't have the private life. Nothing doesn't belong to us. So this is for everyone. This is for the communities. So that's why he didn't want to appoint anyone to take over his kingdoms. So remember that. And that's why we follow what we call democracy approach. And this is one advantage. Of course, this is advantage that there's so many different groups of Buddhists around the world now. They still, whichever can survive, just survive. Depend upon their skill, depend upon their practice and so forth. But if you have one organization, right? If the top or the middle or the bottoms is corrupted, or the whole system will be corrupted too. You understand that? So that's, and the plus, when we deal with power body, so later on we talk about emptiness of the self. Emptiness. Ego. The problem when we talk about the Four Truths, the problem of our life is this big one. Ego business. So when we practice meditation and so forth, we transform ourselves, we transform that type of attachment to ego. That's we have lesser problems for ourselves. Okay. Let's just move on. Number 6, please. The price Briefly, the early Buddhist lay communities. Yes, sir. What happened?
Well, the early laymen would donate to help with the monasteries. They would also donate food and clothes, and a lot of them went to improve their environment. And Buddha did give kind of standards for them. These are the 5. Has faith, he is virtuous, he is not superstitious, he believes in action and not in luck or omen, and he does not seek outside of the order for those worthy of support, and does not attend their first.
So last time I talked to you guys, right? And not to be a Buddhist, right? You have to take what we call 3 refuge and 5 precepts. And 5 precepts. Who know what 5 precepts? You know 5 precepts? We talk about that later on. So this is the first one. You know? Yes? No, 3 refuges. You take refuge to Buddha, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, right?
Yeah.
Buddha, Dharma, rest in his teaching. And the last one, Sangha, is communities of monks and nuns. That's 3 refuges. And how about 5 precepts? 5 basic precepts. This is universal. The first one is no killing.
There's no killing,
No stealing.
Stealing,
no sexual
misconduct, no lying, and no
Oh, no alcohol.
taking drugs and so forth. The person one. Okay? So that's become a Buddhist, lay Buddhist. We have more time to talk about that later. Okay, let's move on to number 7, please. Oh yes, only you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so through my reading and like a little bit of research throughout many Word document, I found a lot of local leaders, which is like king and queen. They are patrons of like strong patrons for Buddhism. So some of the great names are Bimbisara, which is one of the great king. He support a lot, and one time he donated the bamboo roof for Buddha and his whole Sangha to stay in and live there for like 6 years during the raining season. So it's kind of, and then another one is Queen Malika and King Kosala. So they also like invite a lot of Sangha, like 500 per day to give them food and everything. And then and then another one, a very like smart one, is Queen Samavati. She have the servant last class we talked about. She have the servant learning from Buddha and then teaching for her. And then she also do a lot of things, convert like all the kingdom to Buddhist and support a lot. But in the end, she died in like the fire because past lives she tried to burn one Buddha. So but one of the greatest names in all is that King Asoka, which is
we will talk about this in next one.
Yeah, he will be the next one. So Asoka is the great emperor of Maurya dynasty. He ruled almost all India, and then he built a lot of monuments and a lot of support to Buddhism, and he helped set a foundation to send a lot of Buddhist belief and teaching to China, Japan, Korea, and later on Southeast Asia. And so he was ranked 53 in the most influential figure in the world.
Thank you. Okay, number 8, please. Yes.
The book doesn't talk a lot about him becoming a Buddhist, but so I looked up some information he gave, which is under Ashoka, the righteous king, and then it talks about how he inherited the empire, and as the guy said, it's a large part of India, and I think one of the areas that didn't agree to be under his control was Kalinga, and so that was the southeast region, and so by force he allied with the other regions, and by force he kind of claimed control control of that area, and that caused a lot of deaths. And with those deaths, he kind of felt guilty with all the killings. And around that time, he did meet a Buddhist monk, and that kind of encouraged him to become Buddhist.
I just upload a short video clips. It's about 23 minutes. Let me see. Have you guys watched? Anyone of you have watched this clip before already? This one here. This clip here. You guys watch this one yet? No? Please can watch it at 4. We don't have time to watch it. Okay. So historically, right? The reason why he became a Buddhist, again, like she mentioned that he waged a war to the people in Kalinga. You read that? Okay. He waged the war to conquer this part to the far eastern side. And somehow, during that war, he killed more than 100,000 people. And after the war, he regrets his people. And later on, he encountered Buddhism, and he turned himself. He tried for himself as an non-violent king. But in Buddhist tradition, this is one legend. Before he became a Buddhist king, he built a hell on earth. He built a hell in his kingdom, and he chose one of the cruelest guy to run that hell. And he made the rules of whoever go to that place could not get out. So that's why whoever wander around and somehow end up in that place, the hell place, will be killed, executed, or be tortured until die. And one day, there's a young monk. You know the story, right?
No.
You don't know. Who knows the story? You don't know. So there's one young monk. He just been ordained. He was just ordained, and he wander around. You know the monks, they wander around to beg for food and to spread the Dharma. So somehow he end up there. He ended up up the Ashoka hell. So of course he was captured and almost burned to death. And so when that crewman hooked him into the boiling pot, and at that time, because of his sincerity, somehow he ended samadhi, and they could not burn him. That's why they deported the king, Ashoka. So when the king came down to witness, that's special monks, the one who sat within the boiling water without being burned and so forth. So he witnessed that's miracle. And what happened? He said that he will destroy that hell. And before he went out, so the crewman, the one who took care of that hell, they say, well, you established the rules. Whoever come here could not get out, so I have to kill you. And so the king turned around and said, who came here first? So the crewman. So that's why the king ordered to kill that man. And so from that time on, he became a Buddhist, the non-violent way of life. Okay, so that's a story about how he became a Buddhist. According to legend, but according to historical fact, that after he witnessed the killing of more than 100,000 people, he became a non-violent emperor. Okay, so next one, number 9, is it right? Yes. Yes, number 9, please. How he is devoted to Buddhism. Number 9. Yes, how?
Yeah, after the war, like you said, he became Buddhist. He never really cared about it that he liked it ever since then. After all the land that he conquered and all that, he sent out emissaries to spread the word of Buddhism, to spread it across India. He believed that the Dharma was the only way to rule. It was a just and compassionate thing. It was the only way to run the society the way that he wanted it, was for everybody to live by the Dharma. Even his officials underneath him, the people that helped him rule the country, they were all ranked based off of the way that they followed as well. He went so far as to, he planted wells and trees, and he had rest houses on the way into all the cities, so for travelers and stuff. He had certain days when animal slaughter was prohibited, and he worked really hard to limit religious conflict among people. He himself had gone on pilgrimages to visit the places where the Buddha had lived and where he died, and he unearthed all the relics and spread them throughout his kingdom and put them in the stupas so that people could come and see them and bask in their glory. And then he also sent emissaries to the known world like Greece and China, Southeast Asia, to help spread Buddhism, and it's because of him that it became as prominent as it is. So he basically devoted his whole life and his kingship to Buddhism and spreading the word and to setting the example for his people.
Yeah, this is incredible. That is where the location, this is emperor, no emperor, and it's huge, right? And that's where, you see, that's where he put the pillars and monuments that's about the Buddhist holy places. That's why we could recognize this historical Buddha that was born in Lumbini. We talked about that last time. And where the Buddha attained enlightenment, where the Buddha first gave the teaching, where Buddha entered Nirvana, and so forth. And I think we have time to view those video clips and the rest of it. Okay, let's do the last one. Who does the last one? Okay, please you do the last one and we will do one more time. Okay.
Okay, so mine is like to describe how his legacy is and his death. He was one of the greatest Indian rulers that ever lived. Part of me is Indian feels like a failure, but I knowing him. From what I learned, that's a joke.
No one laughed.
Alright, so what I read about him, what I really got from him was that he was a big hippie. So for example, when he was Buddhist, he hunting all over the world, on trees, and he had universal health care. And his death, there's not much about his death, but I know he lived to be 70, and he died of natural causes.
Oh yeah.
Of what?
What's that?
He died of natural causes.
Who's saying?
He died of natural causes.
Oh, yeah.
At the age of what?
70.
70.
Okay, yeah. And actually, before he was approved emperor, he killed 99 of his brothers. And I think we have time to watch a video clips. But after he became Buddhist emperor, he turned himself to be a non-violent emperor. And somehow, like you mentioned, right, he built the guest house on the road for people. Like in this country, right, wherever we go, we have what do you call?
Hotel?
What's that? Stop? What do you call stop place?
Gas station. Convenience stores.
Convenience store.
A rest stop?
Yeah, rest stop.
Yeah.
Who've been in Europe before? In Europe? Anyone? Do you have rest stop in Europe?
I don't remember any in England.
England?
No, I didn't
No?
see any,
I think they have like brothels or something.
What's that?
no. You mean hostels?
That's great that we have so much blessing, right? While we're driving, wherever we drive, we have some rest stop, right? To go to the restroom and to rest for ourselves. And even more than 2,500 years ago, he started that kind of public service. And he provided free hospital for the poor and so forth. and he prohibited to kill certain type of animals in his kingdom and his court. And next week we talk more about his edit, the edit that he built for commentary about the holy place of Buddhism. And that's here. That's called pillar. In this pillar, he implies, that's just the word that is called prakriti. Implied the description about the Buddha times when Buddha was born and so forth, and some of his orders so too.
That was the first language?
Yeah, this one is language. And this is one here in Lumini, and this is in Santi. Have you been there? Santi is with one of the famous Buddhist moment that he built. And of course, this one is Bodhigaya. You seen this one? Been there? No? Okay, I've been there before. Been there. It's huge. Yeah, and that's where he attained enlightenment. Without Ashoka efforts, he could not. We could not see this one here. Ashoka major rock edit and so forth. That's the language there. That's the language that he inscribed on the pillar.
A lot of those characters, I guess, look like Hebrew. Like they have the same exact kind of thing.
Yeah. If you study language and you see there's some connection among the languages, the Indo-European languages too. That Sanskrit is one of them.
Pali looks weird though. Pali is very interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have time to watch the video clips, but before we watch, I like to, let me see here. Let me see. Let's watch the first portion. Oh, actually, I forgot to mention about this. Here, let me, sorry. When we talk about the Buddha relic, right? Even nowadays, they still have the Buddha fingernails relic, and they will have what they call the two relics. That's organized by some Tibetan monks and so forth. And this is so holy, this is so spiritual that people worship that kind of relic, and it represents the Buddha physical body. And there's many stories that when the monks, even lay people, pray for Buddha relic will appear depending on their sincerity. And there's one story about a Vietnamese monk. He went to China to spread the Dharma during the first century. And somehow, at first, the emperor didn't believe in any Buddhism, anything about Buddhism. But somehow in the past, they believed in miracle, right? And so this emperor say, well, do you have any proof? Anything to prove that Buddhism is so superb than the other tradition, like Buddhism or Taoism? So this monk said, well, I can pray for the Buddha relic. And so he did for 21 days, and the Buddha relic appeared on his model. And that's from that time on, the emperor could support him to build a temple and so forth. Right? This is so wonderful. And even in Sri Lanka, they have the two of the Buddha, the two relics. This is one of the hardest one, as they get displayed once per year. If you stop by Sri Lanka, you know that. You born in Burma?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have the hair relic of Buddha, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You remember the two merchants? Yes. Do you remember the two merchants? The one that stopped by and asked Buddha, who are you? Remember? And after they became Buddhists, or Buddha disciple, the Buddha get them a piece of hair, and later on somehow they brought, according to legend, they brought to Burma. Yes.
I spent a week in Burma, and I got to visit a monk
country I heard of. In Taiwan, I went there, I heard this is two Buddhist monks. This body has been preserved for more than 300 years. It's really famous in the north.
Yes. That's not a statue?
No, that's the real body, physical body. That's been for more than 300 years. Yes?
Is there any significance to why they do that?
Oh, not significant. You know, sometimes some monks could enter samadhi and they preserve the body.
What?
They preserve their body.
So it's but are they still, like, is their soul still connected to that body? No. I know there's not a soul in Buddhism, but
consciousness, we call consciousness. No.
Okay.
Actually, this is that body, but they still keep this body. The body, I think the consciousness is up already.
Okay. Okay.
But this is only body.
So then, how can they keep the concentration of meditation to like preserve the body?
Yes, that's the way.
Oh, wait.
It's a miracle.
It's beautiful.
The people themselves that are meditating, they preserve their bodies by themselves?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Yes.
And they
that's for more than 300 years. It's every country, every Buddhist country I have heard of. In Mongolia, in Taiwan, in China, in Vietnam, Sri Lanka, and so forth. So that's a miracle. If you do some meditation, you have a stronger spirit, stronger body. That they preserve this body. Okay, and this is not a body here.
They didn't stop. They didn't stop.
Yeah, this recently mummified monk is found inside 1,000-year-old Buddha statue.
Oh, I saw this one.
You saw this one?
They unwrap it and everything, right?
They use X-ray, right?
They said
it's not alive, but it's just sitting.
They said
it's
he
like
was
little
sleeping.
bones. And I don't know.
Sleeping?
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, kind of.
He said kind of.
Yeah.
I really want to take a second.
In a foreign country.
Sorry to put out.
I know.
Some say he is still alive, but just in a meditative state. Now there's another mummified monk. He's 1,000 years old and definitely dead, but was made into a researchers discovered the mummy encased in a cavity in the statue when a private buyer pulled mummified monk.
Yeah. Somehow, can you see that? Somehow they scan this statue. Somehow they see the skeleton inside there for 1,000 years. And even this one monk we call the Thich Hang Dat in the Zen tradition. His body is still preserved in China. He lived in the 7th century, and his body is still preserved in China through practice of meditations.
Is it believed that they create the outer shell that preserves them, or that's
because of their samadhi, because of their mind. So that's why their bodies would not be decayed like us.
But don't they pour like something to like a cement kind of?
That's now few years. I mean nowadays, but before they didn't do anything.
Oh, okay, so
they just use the mind to preserve the body. Of course, now they want to protect this kind of body, right? They use some kind of, I don't know, chemicals or materials to protect the body, keep it hydrated and so forth. But it's still.
So that's the real body, but there's like a layer of something over.
Right here, that's the old one.
But it's not just literally their body. It's their body, but they have something over their heart.
That's why they make up this. They use material to preserve the body.
Now, but before the bodies that were still preserved didn't have anything.
That's what this is current day. What they use now.
No, this is no, that's not.
But they have something over their body. It's not just not their skin.
Their flesh, yeah. It's just pretty hard.
So, especially when you do meditation, you your body be stronger, you more be healthy. That's why meditation now is so popular. And even, you know, that, you may not believe, right? Can you sit still for a day? But some monks, now they can sit still for months. When they end is mind, right? When they really focus, remember the times that you talk with your friends, whoever, your boyfriend, girlfriend, you don't concern much about the times. You know, right? That's so cool. When you're in tune with some type of subject, you would not care much about the times. When you really in tune with what we call samadhi, time is nothing.
So what exactly is samadhi? Like
the skill, they meditate to state of mind. The skill, we talk about that later on.
Okay.
And when you really concentrate. Okay, so we have only 10 more minutes to go. How about this? Let's just, you can watch this video clips at home, right? It's still interesting. Let's just finish up early today because I'm flying back to Indiana to do my celebration. Let's go back by next Monday evening for you guys. Alright, please pick up the number.